Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And I'm pleased to have on a senior at Lewis Mills, Brice Waldron, who is one of the better players in the CCC for the boys basketball team. Also plays on the baseball team as well. Brice, it's great to be able to have you on, man. Seriously.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I've watched some of your podcasts and did some research, but I'm happy to be on.
Well, you did some research. I'd love to hear what was your findings that you found.
Well, I watched the one with my Coach Raponi, and just I don't know, it just looks like a good podcast, and you look like a great guy. So just thought it'd be fun to be on here.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll slip you the $20 after this is over. So I appreciate the comment. But no, Coach Raponi, who, he's a fantastic coach. I've had him on here a couple times, and he is one of the more down-to-earth coaches that I've met, but he's also and I could talk to him for hours. He is so cerebral when it comes to the game of basketball, and it just seems like he just knows the right plays, the right message. I mean, just talk to me about that for a second.
Yeah, since he's been here, he's been great. And he gets on guys for sure at times, but it makes I feel like all of us better. He breaks down plays and draws things up for us that you wouldn't think of. But yeah, he's been great.
I don't think it's never a bad thing to get on players, because you have to
No.
be, as a coach, you got to be good cop and you got to be bad cop. Now, obviously, there's times where maybe you could have been the bad cop when you should have been the good cop, and vice versa. But with Coach Raponi, I feel like he just knows when to get on a player and kind of give a little bit of extra tough love. But then on the contrary, then to on the other side be like, okay, just talk to the player and just say, hey, it's okay. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, he does a really good job of that, of getting on guys, but also like making sure they know what they're doing, and building them back up, like and just supporting us. He's done a very good job of that.
Now, obviously, I have you on here because Raponi said, hey, you got to have this guy on. I was like, all right, cool, good enough for me. If you said so, I'll have him on. I don't care. But obviously, the athletic ability that you have both on the basketball court and also on the baseball field as well is one of those things where playing multiple sports is a very crucial part, I think, to a player's development, because sometimes you got to get away from, hearing the pop of the mitt, which is one of the most beautiful things I've ever, it's almost like when you kick the football, the swish for basketball. It's one of those beautiful sounds for sports. But do you feel like playing multiple sports kind of helped you as far as your development as an athlete?
I think for sure it did. It just gives you so much more, like, just versatility, I would say. And just learning other games and just staying active too. Basketball's helped just my athleticism with baseball, and baseball has helped my strength in basketball, and it kind of goes hand in hand, I feel like.
Now, as you were growing up, did you always play? And I'm assuming you did. Did you always play two sports, if not more?
Oh yeah. I've always been Since I was little, I've always been running. I used to play football, play soccer when I was little, and then in the summer it's always baseball, basketball, same times, just running from practices to games. And yeah, but I've played sports since, yeah.
Was it tough for you though? Because obviously early on top of the fact of trying to find out what you're good at, what you're not, the athletic ability, and again, biggest thing is routine. Was it tough for you early on? Because like you said, you were going from one practice to another and so on, where not to say that you weren't dedicating yourself to the practices and the work needed, but sometimes you just, as everybody says, if I just had that extra hour or two in 24 hours, if there was 26
Mhm.
hours, I could do more. Do you feel like that it was kind of hard at first trying to figure out enough time for the sports that you loved at the time, at the time when you were younger?
I mean, yeah, a little bit, but it not to the point of like it was easy to kind of work my schedule around it because my parents helped out a lot with it too. But
Mhm.
it takes a lot of commitment, I would say, to be running around. But I
Mhm.
love it and I love doing it, and it's great. Yeah.
Now, talk to me about your first couple years at Lewis Mills, as far as, because you've had Coach Raponi for all of your years, correct or no?
I didn't have him my freshman year. He came
Okay.
in my sophomore year.
So let's talk about that really quick. And we don't have to talk about the previous regime. It's okay. I'm not trying to
Mhm.
compare, but I'm just saying, as far as Coach Raponi being there and kind of now you being a sophomore and such, take me into that. How was it? The practices? I'd love to hear about that.
Um, well, obviously, when a new coach comes in, everyone has questions. People don't know what to believe yet and everything. But he came in, I think he did a really good job of getting everybody on board with, coming in, meeting us, having meetings, player meetings, um, and just coming along, like being with us. It was tough at first, obviously, with a new coach, but I mean, he settled in pretty well, I think. But he took to the players pretty well too.
Now, your sophomore year, that would have been the year that COVID struck, correct? During the state tournament, or was it? It was, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and obviously for Coach Raponi to be less than a year in and have to deal with that situation, and then we still are now. Um, Take me into that, because I feel like for both athletes, coaches, and everybody else, it was kind of a learning process on trying to figure out just everything that was being thrown at you guys, the coaching staff, and so on. Just talk to me about that.
Um, about the COVID and when it
Yeah.
hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, at first it was very surreal. We got told that so hold on. The tournament got canceled when we were in school that day, and we had our tournament game that day.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just like all in shock. Everyone was like upset about it, obviously. So then we had a practice later on, and then we're like, the school let us know that we got 2 weeks off from school, and we're like, oh wow, that's awesome, like 2 weeks. And then obviously it turned into a little bit more than just 2 weeks. And it was tough. It was really tough to get something that you've worked so hard for in the tournament taken away from you. When we grinded that season, it was our first season in the CCC too.
Mm-hmm.
But we had some good leaders that kind of helped us through it and helped us get there. And yeah,
Now, how many seniors were on that team that year?
we only had 3 that year,
Okay,
so not that
so
many.
not many, but still, those three seniors never got an opportunity after, like you said, the grind. I mean, was there ever an opportunity for everybody to kind of either via Zoom, because I know everybody, because of COVID, everybody had to stay away from each other at the time early on.
Yeah.
Was there ever a point to give closure, I guess, to make sure that the seniors were sent off the right way by any chance?
Um, we had a team Zoom that we did where we did like an award ceremony with it, and
Mm-hmm.
we got that done. And I think that was kind of like the closure part. That final practice we had too, where coach talked to like every person on the team individually. He does it at the end of every year. But to kind of like talk about like thank you for what you've done for the seniors, and just talk about the growth that players can do over the summer. But the Zoom was kind of the closure part for that.
The kind of adversity, especially early on, that kind of stuff sticks with you and basically anybody who's gone through it. But I think particularly for young players, because I think you would agree with this, that you really saw that the game, any game, can be taken away. It doesn't matter, state tournament or not, it can be taken away from you just like that. So did that kind of help for you and your team, obviously last year, because at the time we didn't know basketball, no basketball. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
football. Football's on, football's off, then it's back on. Oh, now it's really off. Like the miscommunication was terrible. Do you feel like going through that adversity at such a young age kind of helped get through the tough times last year and even parts of this year as well?
I would say so. It definitely kind of changes the way you think about it, and you know, knowing that when I had COVID this year, I would come back and play games, instead of having everything taken away, and it makes the games more valuable, and kind of taking nothing for granted now as a team, because we realize how fragile it could be.
Now, in my conversations with Coach Raponi throughout the season, he was telling me that early on there were some players with injuries, and like everybody, I think almost every team had at least a couple, I don't want to say problems, but had
Mm-hmm.
situations where COVID struck and either shutdowns or they were missing some of their best players. And, he told me how the younger players on your team really kind of stepped up and were able to, at the time, at least hold down the fort until the reinforcements came. And you said you had COVID, so you missed a couple games, correct?
Yeah, I had COVID and then I got hurt too.
Okay, so you had the
Yeah,
double whammy. So,
yeah.
geez,
So
so you being able to kind of sit back or at home and watching live streams, like just take me into the growth of the team because you were able to see that from not just a COVID side, but also an injury side as well.
yeah. So sitting home and watching the games, at first I was like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? Like kind of stressing a little bit. And but to see that the younger guys got a lot of experience from those games, playing a lot of minutes, starting games that, they might not have started if we were all healthy.
Hmm.
I think it gave us more depth now because of it, though, because they got experience in tough games, close games that, could have went either way. But they got experience now. So if they come in, it could just help us that much more.
I think there was one game in particular, and I told Coach Raponi this, that I think the win against Bloomfield kind of really showed you guys that, not to say that you guys didn't think that you could beat the top echelon teams, because I think you guys all believe that and you should believe it.
Hmm.
Because any team can win on any given day. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? But I
Hmm.
think that win against Bloomfield was kind of like the confidence boost that you guys needed to kind of, if anybody was doubting after that, no more doubting.
Yeah, no, that one win was huge for us. We were coming off a tough loss against Bristol Central the day before. It was the middle game of 3 games in a row, and it was just a game that we went in and we worked our butt off for, but we went out there and took it, and they were a hell of a team, but it really got us going.
And now you guys have an opportunity to play in the CIAC state tournament in Division 3. I know being able to meet you in person, which was nice, and being able to see
Mhm.
Coach Raponi in person for the first time, which was nice as well. And you were able to witness some talent in the NVL, and now you kind of got to see that. And I think it helps. It's one thing to watch on film, but I think it's another thing to be able to see. And you don't have to tell me about the teams, but I'm just saying that being able to
Mhm.
see the team's athleticism, certain players, kind of like your own little scouting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really nice to go down there and like actually get a feel for like what players do what and like
Mhm.
see how they play as a team. Because when we watch film as a team on film, um, it's it's obviously you can kind of see the same stuff, but you don't see attitudes or like how hard someone's actually working, and
Mhm.
it's a little bit different, and I would say better for sure.
And with you guys being the projected, I know the brackets are not out official, I think till the end of this week. You guys are somewhere around 16, 17, 18, maybe 17,
Hmm.
something like that. So you just missed the cusp of being able to get a home game, at least
Hmm.
one. So you'll be on the road all the way through Mohegan. But
Hmm.
the question I asked you, because I know the Thunderdome is something I've heard quite a bit about. Uh, you may have to tell everybody, hey, you know what? Bring a travel bag because you're going to be coming to quite a number of games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Thunderdome, it's they've really helped us at our home games, but hopefully we could get some of them on the road and get them to come along with us, and hopefully we could get a game a little bit closer to them too. But we don't plan on going home quite yet, and yeah, hopefully they aren't either.
It's great to, it's great to be able to have you on here, man. I really do appreciate it. I do want to ask you about, because I said I would talk about the baseball side, and I want to get on that because I'm a former baseball player myself.
Hmm.
Um, you're going to Keene State where Coach Blood is, former Hartford. Now he's there at Keene State, and he's one of the better coaches and men as far as the game of baseball. And I know that was a big reason, a huge reason for you to choose Keene State. Just talk to me about that really quick.
Yeah. So, in my decision, I went up there. I played in a like a showcase up there. Met Blood and some. Yeah, we talked, and I really liked him, and went on a few more tours with him. And he's a great person, great guy, and I'm happy to be able to go up there and have him be my coach. And yeah, that's yeah,
I mean, college baseball, there's nothing better than that. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And especially too for what because he has not only been around the game for so long, he has not only won a crap ton of games, but he's also coached. If I recall, I'm pretty sure he was the head coach when Newcomb was there when he was drafted by the Angels, if I remember right, out of Hartford.
yeah. I think he might have been.
Because and he's had a number of kids drafted out of Hartford, and Newcomb is
Hmm.
just one example because he's
Hmm.
I'm a former lefty and I keep track of prospects, and he was a big time prospect coming through.
Hmm.
But again, he knows. Obviously, he knows. I'm sure he knows guys in the show and scouts and this, that, and another. But the point is, if you can impress him and you produce and you show, and I don't know if if you ever thought about making it to the majors or having a shot, but you just never know. You always want to keep that door open as long as possible.
Yeah, no, it's really great when you have somebody that that has those connections,
Hmm.
because it can not only propel your team forward, but it could propel you forward as well.
Hmm.
And it could really change like the whole way someone looks at you. You know.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more with you. Real quick, one more question as well. As far as the tournament itself, and I think you guys have a chance to be able to make a deeper run than a lot of people would. What can people expect from Lewis Mills throughout the duration of the Division III tournament?
Well, we're gonna go out there and we're gonna go out there and try to take some games and go out there, work hard, and play our brand of basketball. Trust in the stuff we know, trust in our ability to play the game, trust our coaching staff, and go out there and hopefully make a run.
Brice, it's great to be able to have you on. Stay in touch and, best of luck throughout the duration. Hopefully, I'll be able to broadcast a Lewis Mills Kennedy game because I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, that would be awesome.
Definitely, man. That'll wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. And our CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm Andre in the Find Them All. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and be well.